We're back.
Baby, Deadass Podcast was like a woman who got a haircut, baby. She about to change her life. Ellis Ever After is live.
2, 3.
It all started with real talk, unfiltered, honest, and straight from the heart. Since then, we've gone on to become Webby Award-winning podcasters and New York Times best-selling authors.
Deadass was more than a podcast for us. It was about our growth. A place where we could be vulnerable, be raw.
Pause. But most importantly, be us.
But as we know, life keeps evolving, and so do we. And through it all, one thing has never changed.
This is Ellis Ever After. Deadass.
Because we got a lot to talk about.
Let me tell y'all something, man. When you get married, the woman that becomes your wife is completely different from college. I used to call her for booty calls. I ain't never get this type of attitude, ever.
Are you serious?
Ever.
So, let's get to the nitty-gritty. What we start with? Story time? It's been such a long time.
It's been a long time. Yeah, story time is next.
Boom. Story time. I'm actually going to take us back to 2018.
You typically take us back.
Yeah, I got to take us back in the time, right? 2018, Khadeen and I are in the midst of developing our social media presence.
Yes.
And we were doing a bunch of battle of the sexes ideas. And I remember I had did a video about resetting your freak.
Yeah.
And it went viral.
Uh-huh.
And then from going viral, I remember our manager at the time came to us and was just like, have you guys ever thought about having a podcast? And I was like, a podcast? What's a podcast? And then she explained to us what a podcast was. And you and I were like, yo, this would be a dope way for us to give our perspectives on marriage from a woman's perspective and then a man's perspective. And then we can actually have a little bit of a battle. It was funny. It was supposed to be in jest.
It was like taking the comment section
Yes.
to the microphone,
Yes.
you know? Yeah.
Literally taking the comment section to the microphone. And we also had the idea of building this out to become a talk show for you because you've always had this dream of being a daytime TV host.
Absolutely. Still a dream.
It's still a dream, but as technology changes, as the industry changes, as the topics of conversation change, so have we. So welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
To the first episode of Ellis Ever After.
Yeah, baby.
You know I'm a drop connoisseur, so I'm gonna make sure I direct her the proper way through the drop. All right.
First karaoke of the season, baby.
Now I'm going to make it very clear. We chose a very difficult song for karaoke because it just fits us so perftly.
It does.
This is what we do. This is who we are. We challenge ourselves.
Absolutely.
And
we
Khadeen,
kill people's songs for a living. You would think it's my job at this point to do terrible karaoke.
Do we really kill people's songs like that? I don't feel like we be killing the songs.
Bad? I know sometimes I just don't be knowing the words.
Well, you be like,
and
just,
I tend to be a little pitchy. You know.
Well, pitchy is part of it. I mean, it's karaoke. Pitchy is part of the karaoke experience.
Well, I hate when a person goes up to do karaoke and they're singing like Mariah Carey, and I'm just like, you did that on purpose.
Right, it's not fair.
Karaoke's not supposed to be like
you can't be a professional
talent
singer.
show.
I agree with you on that. But I say all of that to say, give me some grace on this as I sing this. All right,
go for it. You've been practicing. I'm gonna let you rock.
Shout out to the artist who sang this song.
Indeed,
because she is one of the greatest.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel.
Period. Breeze doing what?
Breeze sifting on by, you know how I feel.
Hey.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me.
Baby.
Yeah, it's a new dawn. It's a new day. There goes the pitch.
Period.
It's a new life for me.
And I'm feeling what? Oh, you was really practicing.
And I'm feeling good. Shout Shout out to, oh my God, Nina Simone. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite Hove songs, I'm not going to say the other person because he's tripping right now, but Hove's song is Otis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where they sampled Nina Simone. And shout out to Nina Simone. We are feeling good, man. You and I are feeling good.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day.
Tribble, are you feeling good?
I'm feeling all right.
Listen, you gotta feel better than all right, though.
That's what I'm saying. Tribble, you gotta feel good. Matt, are you feeling good?
Feeling good, y'all.
Ooh, Josh.
Yeah.
Are you feeling good?
I'm tired, y'all.
Listen,
Wake up.
I knew that was coming. You coming from the West Coast time zone, okay?
Josh got off of a flight this morning, so what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna take a quick break, pay some bills, and get back into the new format. As everybody knows, that some things are different around here in Dead Ass Podcast. Because it's no longer Dead Ass Podcast.
It's not, baby. Ellis Ever After, welcome. Welcome to the new set. Welcome to our home. New space, new energy, new vibes, new topics. Baby, we're just getting started. Stick around. We'll be back. Devale, hurry up. You know I'm getting hot under these lights. Where are your pants, though, bro?
I don't need pants. They only shooting from here up.
Why don't you just put your pants on? I'm dressed. I got my shoes on. Get your pants on.
You was standing here with no books. How you doing a book shoot with no books? You worried about my pants? You worried about the wrong thing?
Put the pants on. I want to see the whole outfit together.
Josh, I don't want to do this no more.
You can get me alone.
Excuse me, I bought you.
We'll do this promo by myself.
Khadeen, you mad petty.
You got the shot?
Got it.
But we didn't need you. You were cute and all, but we didn't need you.
All right, so we're back. We have a new segment as we introduce the crew who y'all really already know. Anybody who's been following Deadass Podcast and been a part of the Patreon, y'all are going to know these people we're going to introduce. First and foremost, our producer extraordinaire, Treble, over there. What's up, Treble?
What's going on, y'all? I'm glad I still have a job.
We're excited to have you. How does it feel to actually be officially part of the Ellis Ever After podcast?
You know what? It feels like the best revenge in the world. When I first started working on Deadass, my boss at the time was like, "You're not going to have your own show." And I was like, dang, I didn't even ask. Like, I didn't even.
It's messed up.
But cool. But look at me now, bitch.
Look at me now, bitch. That's going to be a meme. Look at me now, bitch.
I love that.
Yo, Matt.
Yo.
You got to talk to us a little bit, man. Let us know how we got here.
You talk?
Yeah, talk. You don't talk ever. You're always the guy behind the camera.
Everybody, when they see this, going to be like, how'd this happen?
Facts. People, it is Ellis Ever After, and you are officially an Ellis.
Technically.
Not because we got married or anything, but you were born an Ellis.
Because that is my name by birth.
But shout out to Matt, man. Matt's going to start getting in front of the camera because he has a couple of opinions he want to talk about.
Okay,
as we seen on the after show. And last, but certainly not least, the person who actually is responsible for curating the look of Deadass Podcast before our engagement shoot in 2009.
Baby. How many years in are we, Josh, at this point?
Yeah, Josh, how many years is it?
11.
11 years.
Feels like
Closer
it.
to 16. Josh, talk to us. How you feel to officially be a part of Ellis Ever After podcast?
I'm feeling good, baby.
Yeah.
I like the evolution of it all.
Yeah.
I like the look. I like the grown and sexy look.
Yeah.
It's dope, man.
Grown and sexy,
stuff.
baby. We grown and sexy finally.
At this point, we are. What do you mean finally?
I'm still trying to grow up. I feel like a kid. Like I ain't even gonna hold y'all. I feel like a kid a lot of times.
That's very true. And if you take a look at those 4 young men standing there, I still, every day, it blows my mind that I have 4 children, 4 sons, responsible for 4 human beings. It's still crazy to me. Look at my baby.
Look at us and look at us. You see the V? We the V.
Yep.
And ever.
Ever.
Because you was stuck with me forever.
That's a fact.
Know that forever.
And it's a V, not an M, like Josh.
I never saw an M.
You saw M?
I never saw an M. I only saw the V.
I got a text message where Khadeen agreed with me, so let's not play.
It looks like an M right there.
So you thought it was Ellis Ever After?
I know it's Ellis Ever After, but I can see why somebody might say it's an M.
So both y'all have it. All right, I'll take it.
I agree with you.
Let's get back to the show.
Anyway.
We actually have a new segment, all right? The new segment that we're going to include is called Op or No Op.
Uh-huh.
Now, it's not the op that y'all think. The op y'all thinking of is the ops.
Nah.
Right? No, we're not talking about opposition. We're talking about opinions, right? The reason why we're introducing Op or No Op is because we want to start a new trend here in Ellis Ever After. And it's not always having an opinion just because you have an opinion.
Yeah.
How about people start having opinions when they're educated on the topic?
We love that. We kind of got the idea from social media, right? Because people post, people say, well, I'm free to comment in the comment section because if you posted about it, I should be able to say what I feel about it, which is entirely true.
Yes.
But at some points, people just can shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to always have something to say about everything.
Facts.
So
I
that's
agree.
where op and no op came in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to allow Tribble to get us started. So with op or no op, what we do is we don't listen to the topics beforehand. We want it to be as real as possible. So Tribble comes up with the ops the same way she comes up with the facts and stats. So Tribble, it's on you, baby. What you got for us today for op or no op?
The first topic, I think everybody will be having an opinion on this one. I shaved my legs recently. I just
You see what
Thank
I'm saying?
God.
You see what I'm saying? I have an opinion about this.
Wow. I
I have an opinion, but
am proud of you.
I'm going to let you go first.
I'm proud of you, Tribble. I mean, that was like the one thing that I was like, girl, like, I get it, but come on now.
it's not even like a queer thing. It's just lazy. I don't feel like doing it.
Right.
See,
absolutely.
that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, like, this is my opinion, was going to be a question. Did you not shave your legs in solidarity with your queerness, or was it just like, I don't feel like fucking shaving my legs?
Yeah, it was definitely in solidarity with my laziness. Like,
See,
I don't want to
this
do
whole
it.
time I thought she was making a bigger point. This is why you can't have an opinion on anything.
Because you don't even know the root.
'Cause you don't know the
root
reason.
Cause, the
And
root
now that I
cause.
know what the
Because
reason
let me
is.
tell you, I've seen Tribble, come here and I'm like, hey, Trib, listen, it's Devale's birthday, for example. Make sure you bring a little outfit to wear because we're going to go out
Mm-hmm.
for dinner. And I mean, Tribble, beautiful face, done hair, done
Mm-hmm.
dress, body yachtying and all that. And then it's like you do the skin down to the knee.
Woof.
And then you get to the kneecap.
Woof.
And then you go a little further down. And I'm like, Tribble girl, you know I'll be rocking with you. But baby, that's the one thing. So I am proud. Is it smooth? Is it better than you thought it would be?
I mean, I used to shave.
Talking about, are you
Okay.
hitting on Tribble right
Yeah.
now?
I might be a
a
little,
little bit.
You can't
A
see.
little bit.
Little hair don't stop nothing but a comb, I guess. You
see?
know
You
what
see
I'm
that?
saying? The hosts love it.
Dang, the
Stop.
hoes
They
love
not
it.
complaining.
Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like a point of like, caressing for some.
Not me.
Just not me.
You wax, shave,
Correct.
near,
Nah,
do whatever
bruh.
you got to do down there, cause
Lasered.
you let it happen.
Laser.
I don't want to feel like myself. You know what I'm saying? Rubbing on there. Matt, op or no op on?
No opinion on Tribble legs. Sorry, y'all. Got none.
Next.
I love that.
Something I found really interesting. Have you heard of Dave Ramsey?
No.
You guys
Yes,
know
I've
Dave?
heard
Yeah, the
of it.
financial guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a conservative radio host and he's a financial wizard. He's written a
Okay.
lot of books. And he recently got a question on his radio show about whether owning multiple properties is greed for a Christian. And I thought his answer was very, very interesting.
I own, I don't even know, 15, 20 houses and a bunch of commercial real estate as well. How is that not greed? Because I don't own anything. I'm a Christian. And that means God owns it and I'm managing it for him. So I guess you're calling God greedy now.
Wow. That's a good one.
That was a
Tribble.
good one. Nice and loaded too.
I actually do have an opinion
You
on
do?
that.
Go
I
for
do
it.
have an opinion on that. I find that people, not just Christians, because people tend to say that Christians like to only use the Bible when it's convenient. I feel like people in general like to use the Bible when it's convenient. And unless you've done the theological work necessary to be able to explain what the Bible meant, you shouldn't be giving an opinion on the Bible. Now, as far as when it comes to greed, right? I agree with him on this. All of these big companies buying up properties and raising the pricing market, the housing market, that is affecting the housing market. But I also agree, TikTok, like every other format, tends to, sensationalize things. It may raise the housing market possibly 3%. They're going to say it's 30%. And I feel like his opinion does matter because you can't just blame God for everything, right? So when things don't go right in your life, it's God's fault. When things do go right in your life, it's God's fault. But God also says what? Faith without works is dead, which means we have to put the work in. So at some point as a person, you have to take accountability. Always blaming God, whether it's good or bad, to me is just a bad thing to do. You have to take accountability. He's right. Having too much of anything is greedy if your spirit is greedy. But if you have too much of one thing in order to help present an opportunity to other people? What if you own these houses and you put it for low income people where you're not making as much money? Yeah, you own the houses, but you're not being greedy. Being greedy is owning all the houses and only making it affordable to people who can afford it and not helping people. I don't think the amount makes it greed. I think it's the purpose behind it.
Yeah, I
So
think
that's my
I
opinion.
was going to think greed is a mindset. It's
Yeah.
like you said, it's a spirit thing. And, you know, you might just have these homes and you don't know how much that person is now able to tithe. You know, maybe they
True.
can tithe and offer more because they have income from all these other
That is
properties.
very
you know,
true.
I think we all work to be able to sustain ourselves, of course. And then when you are blessed in abundance, you have a responsibility to help others, right?
I agree.
So if you are making residual income or you're making more money off of these investments, that's the point of business, right?
Mhm.
Then the way you go about helping others really speaks more to your spirit than anything.
I agree. Trip.
I think that it was a clever way to defend capitalism using Christianity. I don't think he mentioned the Bible once because Jesus was famously a socialist. And there are plenty of stories in the Bible that preach against greed and selling your soul or your body for money, or, you know, just being immoral for
Yeah.
capital gain. And I don't think Dave Ramsey is using any of those homes to help anybody.
Well, I'm personally not talking about Dave.
yeah.
Mhm.
His purpose is his purpose. But say, for example, LeBron James. He's got billions of dollars, but he opens up the I Promise School. So clearly he's gaining and using these resources to pay
help
it
others.
forward.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like you can't use the Bible to bash capitalism, because you can also use the Bible or you can use capitalism like Jesus did, turn water into wine and shared it,
Right.
as opposed to turning water into wine and drinking it all himself.
But the problem
No.
with the housing market is that everybody needs housing
Yes.
and everybody doesn't have housing because housing is privatized and people are using it to make a profit, to make their millions. So
Yeah.
I think that being a landlord is almost inherently greedy unless you are giving people housing for what they can afford and not like driving housing prices through the roof like what's happening right
Understandable. I do get what you're saying. I do get what
Especially,
you're saying.
especially as a renter now too. Like you can probably see and be like, damn, you know, you really don't have to be charging all this for rent,
Yeah.
sir.
now. Yeah. Because all the money I'm paying for rent, and as many times as I've seen dog piss in the elevator, I'll be wanting to go down to the rental office and beat up somebody.
I
I
feel
should be
you.
able to do
On the
that
flip
for what I
side,
pay
you
for
gonna
rent.
see dog piss if your rent is low regardless.
Thank you. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. For me, greed is about your desire.
Mhm.
That's
Your
right.
mindset, your desire. It's not a number.
I agree with that.
It is accumulating multiple things for.
You new to podcasting, but speak to the
Oh, my
microphone.
bad. I'm sorry.
Help him out, Matt. Help
It's
him
my
out.
first
Gotcha.
day on the job. but like I said, greed is about a mindset. It's about your desires and what your ultimate goal is. If your ultimate goal is to hoard and not share, then that's greed.
That's greed.
If you're collecting things and still sharing, but I'm accumulating things because of my talent, because of my business acumen,
Yeah.
because of these things are coming to me because of what I've earned
Right.
and what I've done to get them, right? I'm not doing this to be poor, but at the same
That is
time,
very
like
true.
if you're just like not sharing wealth or spreading it around or just doing it inherently like the corporations just to drive a market and to be profitable, then that's greed to me.
I have a question. I'm going to let you go, Matt. Yeah.
My initial thought was similar on the lines of yours. I think a lot of people try to weaponize the Bible and only use it to make their point. So sometimes when I hear anybody reference biblical stuff with anything that's happening in the world, I tune out.
I feel you.
So he started talking about it. Once he started talking the Bible, I was like, I don't know how I feel because like you said, I'm not researched on that theory part.
Yeah.
Or the actual scripture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
theology,
the
yeah.
theology part to actually understand and go back and forth on that discussion.
It's funny. You brought up a good point, though, Josh, and even Trouble. At what point does gaining enough resources to pay it forward become greedy? Or is it something like he said, it's inherently in your heart? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to live nice, other people's projection of that could be that I'm greedy because I want to live nice, right? Like, some people may
it's
say,
relative.
even for Trouble, why do you care about dogs pissing in the elevator? You got an elevator. We live in a walk-up. You just being greedy. You see what I'm saying? It's like someone else who has less can always say to you, you're being greedy because you have more.
Right.
True.
And we have to start looking at people's hearts rather than the numbers. So that's just my final word on
Yeah.
that.
That was good. That's a good one.
You got one more, Trip, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, I have one more that's going to lead us into the topic. if
Let's
y'all
get it.
ready.
do
Let's
it.
get it.
So on Threads recently, author and speaker Lovia J. Jones posted tax podcast mics. Tariff them.
I love Lovey.
She said,
Lovey be saying it.
She do be saying
and
it.
that
be
post
saying
got over 2,500 likes and more than 175 reposts. And of course, we've all seen this on social media. People say this all the time. People say shit like podcast equipment should cost $1 million. And I think it's because of some of the bad takes and misogyny and pick me culture and all of the isms and phobias that are being spread on podcasts. And so it makes me wonder, what do you think about continuing to be podcasters with this type of sentiment going around? Op or no op?
I do have an opinion. First thing is, though, misogyny is always brought up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the female word for misogyny?
Misandry.
How can we never talk about that?
What?
Wait, there's a word?
Yes.
I
We
didn't
never,
know
you know
that.
why we never use it? Because in our culture today, men are not allowed to have opinions about anything. It's misogyny, but women can say whatever they want about anything.
Wait.
Well,
what is
it's
the-
like
what is
we
the
don't
word?
call people saying white people smell like dogs. We don't call that racism.
That don't mean that it's not racist, though.
Okay, but so you get why, because there's a imbalance of power.
Oh, there's definitely an imbalance of power, but my thing is, as a person who's going on Threads, who is making a comment about podcasts, but only directing it towards one group of people, that's a problem. Because ultimately what she's saying is that men shouldn't have podcast mics. And that's not fair. So that what you're saying is only women should have podcast mics and opinions about things. But if you look at history in the last couple of decades, women have had the most to say about things, right? And then women are also getting mad at other women for having things. That's how pick-me culture became a thing, right? You don't hear them call men pick-me's. It's women pick-me's. So anytime a woman has an opinion that differs from the popular culture of most women, what do they call her? A pick-me. Anytime a man has an opposing opinion to what the popular culture of women think, what do they call him? Misogynistic. How come there is nothing like that for women? That's my biggest problem.
Well, apparently there is a word, but we just never hear it.
But you see what I'm
what's the word
saying?
again, Trent?
Misandry.
Misandry.
People don't even know what it is.
Well,
Misandry?
it's gonna
The
be
same
word
way
of
you
the
have
day.
toxic masculinity, right? So there's nothing toxic about women. There's no such word as toxic femininity. You want to know why? Because toxic masculinity was created by women.
Yeah.
And since they're the ones who are the only ones who are allowed to have podcast equipment now, this is what's going to happen.
Wait, so who? So wait, I'm.
Well, Lovey
Was it
didn't
Lovey
say
that
anything
said that?
about. No,
No,
she
I
didn't
think we're
say.
clarifying
But
that
there's
she didn't say
famously
that.
Go
men
ahead.
like Andrew Tate and a bunch of men who just go on podcasts and bash women or say things
Absolutely.
about black women or men who have been.
Absolutely.
Because Andrew Tate got accused of like sexual assault and then he fled the country.
See, but my thing
so
is,
it's those things are happening.
forget the
I
podcast
don't know
equipment. He
about-
should just be in jail, though. Like, why are we talking
But he
about
got pardoned
podcast
and he came
equipment?
back.
Yeah, but this is my biggest.
And I don't know exactly what podcast she was talking about. She didn't say anything about misogyny. She just said,
okay.
all she said was tax podcast mics.
Mhm.
And a lot of what I assume is because of some of the things that are being spread on podcasts. A lot of times it is misogyny, like the British dudes who let Andrew Schultz come on and talk shit about black women on his show.
See, but that's also my point too, right? We can get rid of podcast equipment all we want, right? People have to use better discernment of what they listen to.
Yes.
And-
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So forget the podcast equipment. Stop listening to stuff that
It's also
shows people in a bad light.
It's also the clickbait worthy, little 30-second clips of people saying wild stuff. It's almost like a competition
Facts.
for who could say the most,
Facts.
reactive or
Facts.
the most abrasive thing
Facts.
just to get viral views.
But we can't tax podcast equipment because ultimately what we're doing is we're taxing people's ability to have free speech, which is anti-American, which is part of the reason why people come to America is so they can speak
Which America
openly.
we talking about, child?
We don't even gotta get started on that. Because oh man,
That's another op
That's
or
a
no
whole
op.
nother op or no op. But the biggest thing is though, like people should be allowed to have their opinions.
Right.
Other people should be smart enough to say, is this opinion valuable?
Right.
You know,
Is
'cause
this
I
something I
look
want to
at-
consume?
Right. Andrew Tate comes on my screen, I automatically scroll up. It's just like that's not someone I'm going to allow access to my subconscious because I don't agree with what he says.
Yeah.
But there's a group of people who do.
Right. Or entertainment. Or what are the red balloons now? Like it's not a podcast per se, but it's just like that's another thing. The minute I see a balloon
They should
on my
tax
screen,
red balloons, B.
yes.
Yeah,
It's another
I
thing
hate
that
You gotta
should
watch
be
the Jamaican
taxed.
version, okay?
I swear. Oh,
They
are
got a Jamaican red balloon
Yeah.
game?
Oh, so I might have to tap
There's
into my people.
every category has a red
I
balloon
might
game.
have to tap into my people. I feel like the jokes them gonna nice.
I do want to clarify something. The term toxic masculinity was coined by a man.
Pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
pretty sure it
but you
was.
said women started it.
No,
Women
you have
a name?
created it.
Who say it the most?
It was coined by a man. It was defined by a man. You said women created it, so I wanted
Fair.
to correct that.
When you hear people talk about toxic masculinity, who says it the most? Who's made it famous?
I guess women. I guess.
And my
women.
point is, podcasts can't always be just men be talking bad on podcasts.
I don't think that's the
hate
case though.
When you
Women be
listen to
saying a
what
bunch of bullshit too.
I agree with you, but when you hear what Tribble just said when reading the thing, it was misogyny, it was pick-me culture. And I chose those two because misogyny is anti-men and pick-me is also anti-women who believe that men are right. So it's like we use those two examples as the reason why podcasts shouldn't be allowed. It's like, so pretty much what we're saying is that anything that has anything to do with a man's perspective is the reason why we shouldn't have podcasts. I think that's unfair.
I don't think anybody's perspective after a while. It's almost like when I was a makeup artist, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
After a while, the whole entire job of a makeup artist, I feel like, or the value, I should say, in a makeup artist started to diminish because it seemed like everybody that picked up a brush
Was a makeup
and
artist.
had a little box was a makeup artist. So when you are performing at the top of your expertise and you want to demand a certain price tag for your service, you now are getting undercut in the market because you have people who are now doing a face for $50 and making that the standard. Now, your face gonna look tore up. That's one thing because you're not paying for the level of expertise again. But I think that that's simultaneously what's happening in the podcast market. Us renewing a deal with iHeartRadio. It's like, can we demand the amount of money that we feel like we deserve
Because
being
everyone
veterans
else
in the
can.
game? Because now you have all these podcasts that they've poured money into that are not reaping the benefits that
That
they
is a good
thought they
point.
were going to get, not reaping the views and the
That
listens.
is a really good
So now
point.
you're making it bad for other people who have literally been putting the blood, sweat, and tears in for the past almost decade. We can't reap the benefits of that because now everyone with a microphone is a podcaster.
I didn't think about that perspective. And to be honest, you're thinking from a financial perspective.
Yeah, I'm always going
If
to think
they-
about the
yeah.
dollars, baby. It got to
If-
make sense.
If they put a premium on podcast equipment and can't everybody get a podcast, then when people go to negotiate their deals, you wouldn't have to compete with the fact that everybody has a podcast.
Absolutely. And that will start to sift out all of the nonsense from people who really find value in whatever your podcast is.
Never thought about it like that. I was thinking about censoring people. I'm anti-censorship. Like I don't think anybody should be censored. But I understand where you're coming from the business standpoint. I do feel you though. And I do feel you with what's the man name? Andrew what? Andrew Tate. Certain people should not be allowed to say certain things, especially if it causes harm to other people.
Mhm.
But like I said before, is that podcast equipment or is that jail? Because there are rules and laws against that, right? Like you should not be able to go online and say things that's going to cause harm to a different group of people. And they're allowing people to do that.
Yeah, nobody's policing the internet. That's the problem.
So do we get that with getting rid of podcast equipment or do we have like a FCC for the internet? Is that something?
I personally think there needs to be some type of FCC or some type of overseeing of the internet in general, not just podcasting overall. But the entire internet is a wild place and it's only getting wilder.
No, you should need qualifications to get a podcast.
I agree.
Simple.
I agree.
Right? You get a certificate or whatever you went to school for it or journalism or whatever. You need something, bro.
You know what? I'm glad you brought this question up because that's actually a good freaking point. When we went to school for journalism, there was prerequisites you had to in order to get something published.
Yeah.
Right? Like you couldn't just go, I'm gonna go to the New York Times and publish an article. I think that's the issue with podcasts.
Yeah. You couldn't just jump on camera and just start reporting news without fact checks and all sorts of stuff.
And not for nothing, I think that's what she's probably focusing on.
Yeah.
I think that's more than that, than censoring one side or the other. She's probably just talking about there's no qualifications for people to have a podcast.
Yeah,
So-
and what are the standards that you're holding yourselves to as podcast hosts? What are the standards that you hope your listeners hold themselves to as consumers of podcasts?
That is a good point
That's a good
there.
question.
Because that would think about what's his name, Andrew Tate.
Mm-hmm.
If he had a responsibility that if someone off your podcast did something based off of what you said, you would be held responsible, he wouldn't talk so recklessly. And that's the problem.
Well, there was one landmark case. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a podcast host, radio host, and he kept saying that Sandy Hook didn't happen.
I saw that one. Yeah, I saw
Alex
that
Jones.
one.
Alex Jones,
I saw
yeah.
that one.
And I think 2017, 2018, maybe Stitcher made the decision to take his show off of their platform. And so all of these distribution channels have a choice about what they put on their platforms. They just choose not to exercise their choice. They were the first ones to take Alex Jones's stuff off their platforms, and then the other distribution channels followed. And then he ended up getting sued, and he can't make podcasts and stuff anymore because he said these white people's kids didn't die.
Right.
You know,
and
so it doesn't matter what we say. And a lot of times too, because people get so sensitive about
yeah,
the term misogyny, even
yeah.
stuff like that. They're like, you can't censor that just because this man talks trash about women. That's not harming anybody. And so then it makes it harder for people to say, well, what can we decide can't be said? Or
Well, then let me ask you that question. Because even misogyny is such a targeted word that it's like men can't say things disparaging about women. Why is it okay for women to get up there and just speak disparagingly about men, and that is okay? Like,
I don't
why?
think it's okay though.
No, I'm not talking about you or Tribble. I know you guys don't think it's okay. What I'm saying is think about the overarching idea of what podcasts are doing. They're saying podcasts are damaging because misogyny exists in podcasting, right? Misogyny exists in everything. Let's be real. Like, that's what Tribble said earlier. Like, the power dynamic is off. That's why women should be able to speak. But my thing is, when we're talking about that, where a man can say something that can damage a woman, it shouldn't be allowed. It should be both ways, even if there is a power imbalance. For example, the young lady who told her brothers and her friends that it was a New York Giant player, that he had an ex-girlfriend or something in the house and he was cheating on her. So she told her homeboys and her brother. Her brother went over there, and dude with his brother, she told him, I'm sending my brother over there to kill you. So dude sat in his house with a semi-automatic weapon, him and his brother, and when the dudes rolled up, he shot them. And it's like, that's the power of, you know what I'm saying? Even a woman's voice, as much as women don't want to own that, when a woman says something, that shit matters, especially to the men around them. You know what I'm saying? There should be.
My brother got set up by a woman, and that's how he got murdered. So that
So you
happens
see what I'm
all
saying?
the time.
And that's
not,
what I'm saying. Like, that shouldn't
Yeah.
be just pushed aside as the power imbalance. If we censoring people, we need to censor everybody. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to violence. But go ahead. What you saying?
I just feel like what men say tends to lead more so to beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the beliefs that women shouldn't have power or control in their relationships, and women are more likely to be abused in relationships by a partner of the opposite sex, and women are more likely to be killed by their male partners. There's stuff like that, and women are more likely to be sexually assaulted by men. So it's like all of those things that come from beliefs that we hold about other people. They're not necessarily things that come from an interpersonal relationship. Like, this is not a crime of passion when you get raped by your neighbor in the dorms. You know what I'm saying? Or if you get kidnapped from a random man on the street, that's not an interpersonal relationship that you had. Or even when you get catcalled, like walking down the street, I had on some shorts one time. I'm walking with a coworker, and this man
yo, hairy
says,
legs.
no, he said,
Hey, yo,
like,
hairy
he
legs.
said something extremely sexual about my butt. And I'm walking with this innocent coworker of mine, and it's like the most embarrassing thing ever, but you also feel violated. This is a stranger. This isn't then this comes from him believing that he should be able to talk to me that way because of how toxic masculinity, misogyny is ingrained into the society. Rape culture is ingrained into the society in the minds of men who are influenced by some of these people. I don't think misogyny or pick-me culture is the only issue on podcasts. I think that
So why is those the only two that you chose to put on there?
I didn't. I had a
I'm saying when it came up there, it was misogyny and
No, I
and pick-me culture.
said bad takes, misogyny, pick-me culture, and all of the other isms and phobias perpetrated by.
Yeah, but you pointed out misogyny. That's the point, though. The point is that you said bad takes. That doesn't point at anything. Misogyny points at men. Pick me culture points at women who agree with men. And then you said all the other things. That's my point.
I think those misogyny and pick me culture are two of the biggest things I feel like that people get bothered by, especially when it comes to the Black podcast.
People or women get bothered by.
I think people. I think people for sure.
I doubt men get bothered by pick me culture. And I doubt men be bothered by misogyny. That's my point. My point is that I feel like even the way that the question was framed, I thought she said that. But even when I hear people talk about it, that's what they talk about. They always talk about
you
how
don't
much.
like the term misogyny, or you don't like to feel like men are always under attack.
No,
on
I don't. It's not that I don't like that. I honestly feel that right now there is attack on masculinity. I do feel like
masculinity
that.
in general.
Masculinity in general. I feel like
you.
there is an attack. It doesn't matter what you do as a man right now, it's wrong. Like if I am kind and soft to my kids, then I'm gonna raise a son who is not gonna be masculine. If I'm hard on him and I scream, then I'm too hard. I'm creating trauma. It's like there's no way for men in this world, it seems like, to exist without offending someone. You understand what I'm saying? And it just seems like that's becoming a trend where now more men is be like, you know what? I ain't gonna say or do nothing. And then women, like we've heard before, be like, well, the men ain't menin. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you want me to men when you're taking away my power to do anything? Had a conversation. This is a true conversation with a bunch of women who were single and one man, right? It was one man, a bunch of women that were single. And they were just like, Devale, do you think you as a husband should be able to control where Khadeen goes? And I was just like, I don't think I should control, but I would like to know where she's going because I'm responsible for protecting her. And they were just like, well, you don't have to know where she's going to protect her. And I said, wait a minute, it's my job to protect you and you don't feel like you should tell me what you're doing? And they said no.
But it doesn't matter what those women think.
No, but what I'm saying
is the one in the relationship.
And this is my point. And that was exactly my point. You had a bunch of women who were not in relationships with the overwhelming loud voice of, I should not have to do this, but you still have to do this for me. And that's not called misogyny. That's not called toxic femininity. That's not called anything. They're just saying, I'm a woman, I have my opinion. And I'm like, there should be a conversation here. It shouldn't be your way is the only right way and I have to cower because I'm a man and say no. I'm never going to cower. I'm never going to do that. Like, that's just not, I'm going to have my opinion. I'm going to raise my kids. Chivalry is not dead to me. I'm going to teach my kids to walk on the outside, open doors. But at the same time, it's like, yo, you have a responsibility to, your wife is going here, find out where she's going. Ask her what time she's going to be back. Get some information. You know what I'm saying? And it just seems like at this point in humanity, men ain't allowed to say nothing.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I feel like if we take a look at the people that we're around, because I know a lot of women who are in relationships with men who enjoy, you know, having a masculine man, a golden retriever, I heard somebody call it recently. Somebody that's like sweet to them. They never have to open a car door, you know, whatever this is. Some people really enjoy that still. And men are allowed to do that when they have a relationship where that's in the agreements that they have.
Absolutely.
If you
such a beautiful golden retriever to me, babe.
Look. You just called me a golden retriever. What if I called you a Rottweiler? They would say I was being misogynistic.
I mean,
like, you openly called me a dog. Like,
I will say.
No, but just think about it.
I can admit that.
You openly called me a dog and it was okay. Right? If I called her any type of animal, they would be on my ass. You compared your wife to an animal.
Everybody loves a golden retriever, though.
Not me.
Sweet
I like
thing.
pit bulls.
Well,
I like Cane Corsos, Prescott. I like aggressive dogs. That's what I like. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, the whole podcast, not opinion thing, to me just comes back. It's like, we don't want all these other people to have opinions. We only want our side to be heard. And I just hate that. For both sides, to be honest.
Well, that's why we've evolved from Deadass Podcast being a men versus women thing, which is what this conversation almost became.
But I do like the fact that we can have this open conversation because it's more than just me and you. Triple has a very unique take on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even your take on it with the finances, I never thought about that. And I was like, oh, shoot, like, that does make sense. We could have renegotiated our deal way better if there weren't 8,000 podcasts popping up every single day. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about just censorship.
Yeah.
And instead you would think about the business, which also brings the point is why you need to have more voices and not censor people. Because here I got a different perspective from two women. And if I sat up here and be like, well, women shouldn't have podcast equipment, then I sound crazy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
if a woman's saying niggas shouldn't have podcast equipment, everybody saying, yeah. I'm like, nah. No, your opinions open my mind up, and I think everybody's opinion, even Anthony Tate,
Andrew,
and my bad.
It's making me so happy that you can't commit his name to memory, though. That is beautiful.
He not black neither, is he?
No.
No.
Oh, good. At least good. At least he,
What?
at least he not black. So I could take away from that. But even him, right? When you hear someone's takes is so outrageous, and you hear that people really believe that, at least I know who the ops are. You know what I'm saying?
But I will push back and say the reason why people believe that is the same reason that you have, is that they hate that they feel like there's an attack on masculinity and there's a pushback. I think the New York Times just did an article about this, and they did a survey asking men if they feel masculine or not. And it was like most Republican men of a certain age feel more masculine because of this power and this rhetoric around, you know, controlling women's bodies, being able to say what you want, taking away DEI programs, literally having power and control over things that do not serve you. And so I think the reason why people gravitate towards Andrew Tate is because they're trying to learn masculinity, because they feel like they don't know what it is or it's not being accepted, and they're trying to find a version of masculinity that they're getting from him because they believe that it is having power and control.
I feel out of the loop now. So do I not knowing Andrew Tate, am I old? Is he a young dude?
No, you shouldn't know him, but I think kids watch him on YouTube, like teenagers, preteens.
Part of the internet.
See, but
needs
that's
to be
also
censored.
That right.
That's also the
For
thing.
the impressionable minds.
I don't follow things that don't
Correct.
serve what I'm trying to do
Right.
purposefully. So I
And
wouldn't
Jackson
even.
don't follow him because we check his.
Yeah, we check his history. So if I ever saw
Yeah.
that, I would have been like, nah.
But I will say there's over 3 million active podcasts out there right now. And I think the stats said there's like 460,000 active podcasts on Apple Podcasts right now.
3 million?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So there's more than that available. There's more than the toxic shows available.
Hell yeah, there's more than the toxic available. That's why I say you can't take away That's why I think you can't take away podcast equipment.
I don't think you can. I think it's a new industry, just like the music industry was a new industry. You can't take away the type of music I want to do.
That
you
is
just
very
choose not
true.
to listen to it.
I never.
You're gonna have to choose not to listen to this podcast if you don't want to listen to the podcast.
Right.
That's
where
true.
we
It's
fall.
just a
Everybody's
new
in the
industry,
studio.
so everybody's just up in arms about. There's no control on it.
You know what? It's like everybody being in the studio.
Correct.
Everybody a rapper, but that don't
But they're
mean that
not.
you're gonna buy the album.
Dylon.
No.
Because I spit hot fire.
But no, actually was a great. This is why Tribble is the producer, because Tribble be knowing. This actually brings us into why we decided to change Deadass Podcast.
Oh, we had a
into
topic for
Alyssa
today.
Rap. We did have a topic.
I love that.
And this actually goes into the topic.
It does.
Khadeen and I started Deadass Podcast with jest. It was supposed to be like just a prerequisite of how we write man versus woman and how we work on our relationship through our opposing views as man and women, man and woman.
Well, I mean, then our line when we intro the podcast saying that we kind of like work things out as a form of therapy, but publicly with everyone.
Yeah, it was,
so yeah, because it was always my perspective, your perspective. As we grew over the past, what did we start? 2018?
2018.
Man. So
almost 7 years ago.
Almost 7 years ago.
I think the evolution came where it's like, okay, we've spent the past 7 years discussing, like we just discussed, what are the issues we have as men in a marriage, as women in a marriage. And then it's like, okay, we've discussed this. How do we move forward? So now Ellis Ever After is, okay, we've discussed everything like we just discussed here as a group. How do you and I move forward as a couple, with a family, with friends? Because when we talk about our family, we don't only talk about me, Kay, Jax, Cairo, Kaz, Dakota. We're also talking about your parents, my parents. We're talking about
Matt
Tribble,
Ellis.
Matt, Josh. This is all of us, our extended family. This is our ever after.
Yeah.
Many of whom we've asked to relocate. You know what I'm saying? Matt now lives here. Tribble now lives here. Josh is going to be coming here at some point. I want to show people that a village of friends who are all creatives, who can do something together.
And built it together from the ground up. It wasn't one person already, being quote unquote on and trying to like bring people up. It's like, no, starting with people at a certain level and watching the ascension happen, because we all are invested in the common goal, which is being great at, for example, this podcast.
Yeah.
And I love that the space for us, I think more recently, well, Deadass Podcasts at least, started to kind of become Devale and I kind of keeping y'all up to date with what's been happening in our life. Because as things get busy, as more businesses fall on our plate, Devale filming, me now filming a new project, things are going to get hectic. Yeah, I don't. Thanks, Matt. Pick me up one more time.
Reason why we're not getting too hyped is because we can't really still disclose what she's filming.
Not quite
yet. So
we
kind of like holding it tight, but we excited about it.
Big ups.
Yeah, so excited. So this is going to be a way as well for us to keep y'all who have been so invested in us over the past 7 years up to date on all of kind of like the behind the scenes stuff as well. And still talking about how life and family and business and parenthood impact us on a regular basis.
I agree. And we also chose to include our I don't even want to say friend group, because at this point we're not friends. Like before Tribble moved here and Matt was here and Josh, they lived here when we did the podcast. Like y'all don't realize this, but we filmed the podcast and these 3 people will be living here for a week. And we will be filming the podcast, talking about guests and topics. And we just felt like now was the time for us to elevate, get to a new level. For all you creatives, this is another thing that you have to think about. Marketability. When Khadeen and I first started,
that was important.
We didn't understand the scope of what podcasting was. I was like, well, we get on mics and talk. I'll do that shit all day. Not realizing that it was going to become its own medium and grow to what it's become. So we came up with Deadass Podcast because we were like, yo, we from New York. We from Brooklyn. We being dead ass. Like, I'm going to say exactly how I feel. Kay going to say exactly how she feel. At the time, they were just like, we don't think we should call it Deadass. And I was like, why? And they was like, well, ass is a curse. And I was like, well, ass isn't a curse if you use it in succession behind dead, colloquially from New York. And they were like, huh? I said, the bottom line is we're going to call it Deadass and y'all going to have to deal with it. So after 7 years, the same conversation we had about Battle of the Sexes, we don't want to do that no more. We want to come to an understanding of the sexes and move forward so we can all be happily ever after. You feel me?
I see what you did there.
You know what I like too? You and I were told you would never have a show.
Yeah.
I was told that I was going to never be on TV. Tribble was told she was never going to have a podcast. I'm pretty sure Matt and Josh were both told that they wouldn't be able to do the things that they're doing, especially as directors. So it feels good to actually be able to show people that we're doing this.
Right. And creating our own opportunities, essentially. Like, one thing we've never did was listen to, people
everybody
saying that we
else
couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And we still don't to this day.
Nah.
And I think that's why it's given us the courage and the permission for ourselves to just do something different.
And it gives me the safety and the freedom to say Tribble and know that she's gonna be on camera. There are some facts and stats that you have, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just have some facts about the podcast.
Let's
over
talk
the
about
years.
it.
Oh, this is
Let's
like
talk
dead
about
ass
it.
facts.
Yeah, this is dead ass
This
facts.
is going to be interesting. I
Let's hear
haven't
it.
heard about this. Let's
This
see
is
what
just
you
kind
got.
of a walk down memory
Okay.
lane.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
I
I love
started on the
memory
podcast in
lane.
2019.
Yes.
And I actually remember the first time I listened to the first episode. I was interviewing for the job. And I was like, man, why I got to do this podcast with these normies?
I know, right? Like, man, I'm just whack.
But I loved it, and your chemistry was amazing. Earlier, you mentioned y'all wanting to do the podcast to kind of grow into Khadeen's own daytime TV show. And I remember in the studio, I'll be like, Khadeen, you need a daytime TV show. And she was like,
said it.
that's the plan. And I was like, wow, really?
Look at you.
But it just like, it's very clear that you have that talent. It comes through every time you're on the mic.
Thank you, Tribs.
One of my favorite episodes was Prenup or Nah. Do y'all remember that? With
Ooh,
Judge Maybelline.
Yes, with Judge Maybelline. Remember she came in?
Yes.
She was so honest.
She was sweet.
We were living in LA.
We were
at
in
the time.
LA at the time.
That's
yes.
when we used to come in every week and do 2 podcasts every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was pre-pandemic. And then we also had an episode that didn't make the cut with an unnamed influencer.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
I think that was when I met Devale.
Your face right now.
Like I knew Devale for like 6 months at this point, but that's when I met Devale.
You
for
met the real Devale.
Yeah, I was upset
Devale
about
was
that.
annoyed
Yeah.
about that.
Real
one.
real
He
quick
really was.
story, but this influencer pretty much made her money and her ability to grow as an influencer talking about colorism. So Khadeen and I were like, yo, let's have her come on here to talk about, because she's a brown-skinned woman. She came in here to talk about colorism. So first of all, she got there over an hour late.
It's an hour and a half, yep.
Over an hour late. And then the minute she came in, we didn't even meet her first. We met her white male manager or handler.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came in after being an hour and a half late, didn't apologize, nothing, and said she won't be discussing any of these things. All of the list of things were discussing the things that made her very popular. And I was just like, well, what are we going to discuss then if she don't want to talk about it? And she has a whole bunch of other things. So we sat down for like, what, maybe 20 minutes?
Yeah. If that.
And I started asking questions, and then he stepped in one time and said, yeah, she won't talk about that. I said, all right, well, we don't got to do this interview. And I was out. I'm like,
Thanks.
hey, come on, let's go. Like
Yeah.
that episode never aired.
Right.
It's funny that you
was too
remember
short,
that.
yeah.
Triple. Were you laughing in the back?
I really was. I was like, dang.
Nah, I was pissed.
Yo,
Because
yeah,
I felt
that
like it
bad.
was
It was just a waste of time.
It was a
Very
waste of time. I feel like she was
unprofessional.
being very disingenuous. Like,
Mhm.
you're brown-skinned women who got famous talking about how brown-skinned women don't get a fair shake in this industry. And here we are, two lighter-skinned people who understand how colorism is a problem. It's like, yo, let's talk about it. And she don't want to talk about it. Or, matter of fact, it wasn't her. He said she wasn't going to talk about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
she was kind of
And
like,
she was
I
like,
can't.
I can't. And then he was just like, no.
We're not doing that.
And
Yeah.
then she listened. And that's when I was just like, yeah, all right, well, then if we're not talking about it, then
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's no reason to have this.
That was an interesting moment. Yeah, for sure.
I was hot. Do you remember how hot I was?
I do.
I wanted
That's
to
why
fight
Triple
that man.
said she
I wanted to fight that man.
she got introduced to Devale.
First of all, I want to
that
be like, who
day.
the fuck you telling? Are you not about to tell this black woman she not talking about colorism, nigga? What the fuck you know about? I was so mad.
You so mad right now.
Yeah, I was. Oh my! I look mad now. Let me.
Yeah, calm down. Calm down. Cool him down. Cool him down.
Y'all kind of got me mad,
Cool
bro.
him down.
Because we just talked about men censoring women. It's like this is what made her famous.
Right.
This is what got her the platform, and this is what our culture is still dealing with to this day.
Right.
And you, a person who has no idea what this is about, is going to tell her she shouldn't talk about this. It pissed me off.
It sure did.
Which is, I'm
well,
not
do you
even
have a
gonna-
favorite episode or moment?
I have a lot. I actually have a lot of favorite episodes and moments. One of my very, very, very favorite moments. Yeah, I can't even say that one because I got another one I thought about. We did 15 seasons, bro.
I know.
15 episodes. That's over 225 episodes.
It's like a blur. I almost don't have anything that's surfacing for me right now. I have deadass live show moments.
Those are my favorite.
That
That's
was the
yours?
whole
Wow.
thing. I think the live shows in general are just really like my thing. Like
And
I
we are
love the stage.
Gonna do another live show.
We're
But
gonna
not a
do live
tour.
show.
We're not doing a tour. We're gonna do another live show. Our plan is doing a live show. Of course, where?
Brooklyn, baby.
Brooklyn. We're gonna come back to New York. We're gonna do a big live show.
Yeah.
And when we find
We'll
the
see.
time,
We'll
but it's
see.
gonna happen because we have to do a Ellis Ever After live show.
Oh, for sure.
So
I
we
mean,
plan
now
on doing
that
that.
we're here.
Yeah.
You know, and y'all gotta buy all this deadass merch. Sidebar. Shout out to Kwame, who's back behind the cameras as well. Yeah, deadass merch is now going to be on sale, and it's gonna be a collector's item at this point because there's no more deadass. So make sure you get
Oh,
your hoodie.
man, that's right.
Make sure you get your hoodie, your t-shirt, your hats. Yeah, because once they're gone, they're gone. They're like collector's items at this point, I feel like.
I was balancing between episodes. I think one of my favorite episode is with Angel and Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
It was talking about marriage,
Mhm.
but Angel's a clown, right? Like she's hilarious.
So funny.
And Marcus is so like straight. And this was before Marcus started to become more of
Yeah.
a personality. And Marcus
Yeah.
was kind of sitting there like, I don't really know why she had me come on here. I know it's a couples thing. But it was just so funny because throughout the episode, he started to open up. And we realized how much we had in common because they had 4 kids. At the time, we only had 3. It was
Mhm.
only boys.
Yeah.
So there was so much synergy between them. But I also loved Melissa and Kev on stage.
Oh man, yeah.
Like I think
Wow.
it's the relationship aspect and seeing people who have been in relationships just as long as we, and we talked about like our issues,
Mhm.
and it's like, wait a minute, you go through that?
Yeah.
You go through that too? And then seeing Melissa, it's like, wait a minute, you and I are the same, and then
Yeah,
you
we
and
have a lot of
Kevin were the
moments like
same.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
a lot of
to
moments
me-
like that.
those, and I think this, me and Tribble had talked about this. Growing up, I had believed that all men thought the same way and all women thought the same way, especially in relationships.
Mhm.
And this is why I loved doing Deadass Podcast. When we sat down with so many different couples and I realized that some of the issues I have, women have those issues with their spouse. And I'm like, oh, so that's not a man thing. So
Mhm.
me trying to fix this with testosterone ain't gonna work. I gotta fix this with another. I have to open up a different eye to have empathy for my wife in a different way, other than saying, well, I'm just a man and she's just a woman and that's how it is. Those relationship podcasts really, like, I love those. Even the after shows when me and Trip will be arguing and I can get a different perspective from someone in a different walk of life. Those are my favorites.
Yeah. I was going to say the ones that I've learned from, I think, were my favorite. So, for example, like, I felt like after a while, I was like, oh my God, we're having all these topics about sex, all these conversations about sex. And I'm just like, man, like, I'm tired of talking about it. People are probably tired listening to it.
Nah.
But then, no, people were like, talk about it more because I have the same issues. But I think it's the self-discovery through those episodes, as well as the parenting episodes, when we've had moments where I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Or it's like, I've taken something that I maybe didn't understand with your way of parenting and realized, like, damn, that's something that actually could be applicable to me too. Like, those self-discovery moments over the past 7 years, I think has really helped my growth as an individual, as a wife, as a mom, as a friend, as a daughter, as a career woman, those teachable learning moments. And I think that's why so many people resonate to begin with Deadass Podcast, because through talking about our experiences, sometimes having vent sessions, sometimes calling in an expert.
Sometimes we vented a lot. Like, I honestly feel like people got a chance to know who we really are through listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been honest about how I feel about things, backlash or not, because I only get one chance at life.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pretend to do something else that I really don't believe in, because then I got to pretend that for the rest of my life. So I just say how I feel. My favorite guest to date is going to always be Tiffany Aliche. The Budgetnista. Like, I've learned so much from her financially that's helped create, even these opportunities about, and people think the Budgetnista, she's going to tell you how to put your money. No, she explains to you the difference between having a certified financial planner and an accountant. Small little things that you like, oh shoot, that is different. Well, maybe I should focus more on my financial planning than accountant.
Yeah.
Like, Tiffany, Budgetnista, I love you, girl. Like, I think she's probably one of the fan favorites as well on Deadass Podcast, a guest that they always say we should have on, because so many people have learned a lot.
My favorite guest is Shan Boudram.
It's funny you say you hate talking about sex, but then Shan Boudram is one of your favorite guests. But I understand why.
Oh, no, I just love her candor. I love how she's just so honest. Something about her whole energy and her whole spirit is super calming. I love that she always speaks from a place of, like, no judgment. She's just kind of like, it is what it is. But she also comes with an educational background that's actually legitimate. When we talk about someone having a podcast and speaking as an expert because they've actually studied their field, she's exactly that.
She's also the exact example of a woman having a podcast where I would tell my friends. I've said this all the time on other podcasts. Like, my boys who have issues with sex and stuff, I tell them, listen to Shane. That's who I listen to learn about your body, your mentality, what you were going through. That's a perfect example of, if we limited people from having podcasts, that would person be like, if y'all limit Shan, there's gonna be a problem.
Right.
Because she definitely saved us from a lot of things, because I was able to see and hear what she was saying from a different woman's perspective. And it was like, oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Shan is a good one. My favorite episode, because people say it's theirs, is Selling Granny's House. Yeah. And the only reason why I say it's my favorite is because people always say, I changed the trajectory of my family by just listening to that. Because I could explain to them why we don't need to hold on to this property. Use it as an asset so that we can get more properties. So that's also one of my, like, now I'm going over it. I got so many favorite episodes.
So many favorites. Any other favorites?
I got a favorite moment. It's from a live show. When you brought when the boys introduced you.
That's
I literally
that was
just
a
got
fire
chills
moment.
I said I wasn't gonna cry, and I cried like a little bitch. Happily too. I was back there sobbing like.
You were. And it was Dakota wanting his own microphone. He was just like, wait a second, all my brothers have a
Couldn't
microphone.
talk
Where's
yet.
Mine? Couldn't talk.
Couldn't talk yet, but was pointing at it like, yo. And I was like, yo, my man. It was Mr. Mike. It was like, Mr. Mike, you have to give him a mic. And they gave him one, turned it on to everything. He ain't say nothing, but he danced around with it. That's a good moment. Josh? Nah?
No opinion.
You see? This is Josh's first and last day on the podcast.
I mean, they're all memorable, but the funniest one was when Kay disclosed her boo-boo moment.
Oh.
Who was that episode with?
That was with Kid.
Kid Fury.
Kid Fury, yes.
That was
Listener
a great
letters.
one. That
We were
was
doing
a
listener
funny
letters.
ass episode. Shout out to Kid. I feel
Shout
like
out
they're
to
like our
Kid.
fairy godparents in the him and Crystal.
They not
They-
like, they are.
Yeah,
They are,
they
man.
literally introduced us like
To
to
this-
the world essentially by
The first
having us on the
podcast
read. And,
we did was the read.
Yeah, the read.
And then I think
And-
that's how I started to get more interested in podcasts. People were tagging us and saying
Yeah.
like, yo, y'all were on the read. They talked about y'all on the read,
Yes.
which also helped boost our following on social
Absolutely.
media.
Forever
and then,
in debt to Kid.
We went to
And
their
Chris.
show,
We
their
did.
live show.
Yeah.
And that's when we were just like, yo, we should do some podcast live. So shout out to Chrissy
Yeah, the
and
read.
Kid Furry. What's your favorite episode, Tribble?
Well, I said mine first. Mine was Prenup or Nah.
Oh, yeah,
was
Prenup
Oh
my
yeah, that's
favorite.
right. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
from back in the day. I did also like Khadeen's poop story. It's something like something about a hot lady saying something disgusting about herself that I'm like, thank
Right?
God.
And just not caring, it humanizes me
Thank
in a sense, I
God,
feel
girl.
like, because everyone probably has had a moment.
It's
Whether
something,
you've
man.
expressed it or not.
It's nasty.
if somebody I'm dating is like, oh, Khadeen fine, I'll be like, you know she's shit on the side.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah, you thought she's fine, huh? Did she tell you this?
Yeah, I have that now in my back pocket. So thank you. Thank you
Indeed.
so
You're,
much.
you're welcome. Y'all are welcome.
I do have another favorite moment.
Was that?
Would be the first live show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was February 2020. I was at a film festival. I had a short film in a film festival. It was a really exciting moment for me. First time helping to produce a live show. Very exciting. Y'all were having an exciting moment. We're in 2 different cities. Your manager at the time calls me and says, you need some cue cards.
I remember this.
And I'm in Boston. Y'all are in Philly.
yeah.
At a film festival.
And I'm busy, bro.
I'm off the clock.
Off the clock. It's like 8:00 at night. It's a snowstorm outside. I hustle and make these cue cards and send them to your manager so she can get them printed, so she can get them in your hands before stage time.
Indeed.
Gets them in your hands. And then I don't find out until weeks later.
They floating with Bobby
Weeks
Shmurda hat.
later, they run the footage back and Devale, first 30 seconds of the show. It doesn't even take that long. I would say 15 seconds in, Devale tosses the fucking cue cards to
It
the
says,
wind.
"I don't need 'em."
I don't need
crying.
these. I don't need them. That is a favorite memory of mine. I think about it every time I print a cue card. So
I
thank
hold
you.
on to them.
Yeah, thank you.
And on
Don't
that
worry,
note, we're gonna
Tribble.
take a break and pay some bills.
I got you.
My bad, Tribble. That's like the 4th time you brought that story.
But I had to tell the story again because I think starting there, that was the first live show. And the
God.
live shows have evolved so much
Oh my
since
goodness.
then. Then I feel like it was video recorded, but you maybe had one cameraman.
one camera.
Yeah. The DJ was there and it was just
DJ
y'all.
executive was there.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
guests, no crew.
No, it wasn't executive at that time.
It wasn't?
We didn't have exec. They had a
wasn't
house
exec.
DJ.
Yeah, it was a house.
They had a house
was
DJ.
it?
We had
Oh
the
my
meet and greet
goodness.
beforehand.
Yes.
Exec
yes,
didn't come
you're
to
right.
Brooklyn. When we
Yeah,
did
that's
Brooklyn.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So
I
that
mean,
was
we
Philly.
essentially started that too at live shows. Like, think about everyone doing live shows now, podcast shows. It's like there's all sorts of stuff happening.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. With the live shows, with the setup, especially since that show was right before the pandemic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And since post-pandemic, I feel like you've gotten to kind of innovate the way that we do the podcast. And it's been very influential, if I do say so myself. But we've gone
Indeed.
from not being able to get the GoPros to work at the studio.
We did that, y'all. We did that.
We've gone from trying to use GoPro cameras.
I remember that.
Not
Y'all
being
using
able to
GoPros?
get them to work.
We
yeah.
used GoPro
Hey.
and we were in the studio and we had GoPros, one on K,
We
one on me, and one
did.
wild
Oh my
one
gosh.
to do video of the podcast.
I remember watching those episodes.
It's terrible. Them GoPros was
Yeah.
like, it was like the fish bowl. Like my face was all round.
see half of the
I know, my
mixing board on the
nostrils
side.
were mad big. I was like, what is this? This is not flattering.
Well, before we go pay some bills, I do have to say I appreciate y'all. Cause
Come on, team.
everything y'all see here, cameras, lights, run of shows, creative direction has been from those 3 people you're watching on camera right now. And Khadeen and I honestly feel like it's about time y'all get in front of the camera so people can see who y'all are. And like
Absolutely.
when they see this whole setup and realize what this is, they're gonna be like, wow, this is no longer just a podcast. This is an experience. And this is an experience that we want to win awards for and we want to be critically acclaimed. So we're going to do everything in our power. Also, shout out to the Patreon people
Oh my God.
who pay your membership every month.
Gang.
First, a lady asked, why Patreon? This is why Patreon. The people who have invested in the Patreon, you're now seeing and reaping the benefits of your little $4 a month. It don't seem like a lot, but $4 to $5 a month. And now we have cameras, and now we have a camera crew. Now we have lights.
It's not little. We
Now
don't think it's little, $4 or $5.
Yeah, we don't think
it's
we don't think it's little.
yeah.
But I know a lot of people is like, what are they gonna do with my little $4? This is what we're doing with your little $4. It's called group economics, right? You got a bunch of people put together, and now we're able to provide y'all better content because y'all invested in us.
Absolutely.
So first and foremost,
Thank you.
Tribble, Josh, Matt, we love y'all.
Yes.
Like seriously, like
So
we
much.
really, really love y'all.
We love y'all back, man.
Yeah.
And
So
we
much.
appreciate y'all taking this journey with us. Patreon family, shout out to yourself. Round of applause for yourself because you're part of the reason why we're able to do what we're doing in our home.
Thank you, Patreon.
All of the thank you, Patreon. All of the equipment you see on your top TV shows, we have now because of you. So thank you so
We
much.
just want to elevate the experience for y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
Ellis Ever After. I see a little tear at the side of your eye. I'm going to dry
Well,
it for you.
no,
Go
this
ahead.
was a laugh tear because
Oh, it was a laugh
because
tear. Okay.
Tribble was telling the story. It literally was as soon as I got on. I was like, "What's up, that ass podcast?" Tribble got me these cue cards. Fuck these cue cards, and I threw them shits just like that. And I remember Tribble said afterwards, like, "Yo, you know how long I took? I was somewhere to go make the cue cards, and ever since then, I give Kay the cue cards,
Right.
so
'Cause I
that
will hold the
nobody
cue
throws
cards.
them."
Let's go pay. So you should throw the bills like you throw the cue cards.
I wish I could.
I
You can
wish
catch them now, money bags, Ellis.
Period. All right. We'll be back, y'all.
That's my rap name, Savage Savant, baby. It's my alter ego, you know. Once I become my different person, I gotta put the hat on. Ooh. I look just like my brother, don't I? Don't I? That's how my brother be, no smile.
Yep.
Yo, I'm ready whenever you are, yo. We just got here, Brian. I'm just letting you know I'm ready, cause niggas is looking at me. I'm not feeling it right now, you feel me?
Like,
Brian, this is all our family. It's a family reunion, bro. They looking at you because you look like them. Yeah, well, fuck all that. Brian, why are you so angry, bro?
And we're back.
Yes.
Yeah. To my favorite part of the show. That's something that hasn't changed. I still like to get in y'all business.
Evolution.
So-
You don't even have an iPad no more.
I
Or a
don't.
laptop. You got cue cards.
I do. I felt like the laptop after a while was just cumbersome and well, I had the laptop. You can use your iPad
Don't throw that.
if you need.
Nah,
Because you
Woo!
can't
Nah,
launch
you're
Actually, he
that.
did that before.
I did?
Yeah.
Hey,
Kaz's
AZ.
iPad.
Why y'all bringing up old stuff, yo?
Oh,
Why y'all? I'm trying to
poor
remember. That's just
Kazzy.
Dead ass
trauma.
memories, bro.
I'm trying to remember, trying to forget certain things.
You
Leave
did
it up to your
launch
friends.
a certain iPad into the pool off the balcony.
Matt, you know what?
Off the balcony.
And you co-signed it too. You co-signed it, Tribble. That's messed up.
On the balcony.
On the balcony.
Me and Josh don't remember none of that. Josh, you remember that?
Nah, bro.
See?
No opinion.
It didn't happen.
No
No
op.
op. No op.
We're gonna get paddles sidebar. We gotta get those.
I love
things.
that. I love
Kwame,
that.
we
I
gotta
ain't
put that on
getting
a list of
paddles.
things to do.
Hey, yo.
You ain't using the paddle,
Op,
Josh?
no op.
Trauma? From them Kappa
Too
days?
easy.
Oh,
Come on, man. Come on,
Too
man.
easy.
Come on, man. That's too easy.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, yeah, I'm still nosy. Still like to hear what y'all got to say. And
Mm.
we're always going to give our 2 cents as you continue to write in. We're going to give the new email address at the end of this episode where you
Yes.
can write into for advice or to just chit chat with us. Well, Tribble. Here's the first one. Listener letter of Ellis Ever After. Hey, Kay and Devale. It's Kayla here. Hey, Kayla.
What's up?
Wanted to give you your flowers and wanted to share some seriously amazing news. I love amazing news. Okay, last year I wrote in and you guys featured my letter, both on the podcast and Patreon.
Gang, gang.
Seriously, you all were lifesavers. Your advice helped me so much, capital S-O, in navigating my 8-year relationship. I absorbed every single piece of wisdom that you shared, and it all paid off big time. This past October, my boyfriend proposed.
Boom, boom, boom.
I
Yo,
love
that's
that.
fine. This is what I'm talking about.
She said, yep, I'm engaged. Our wedding is October 11th. I feel like we need to be there.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Drop the invitation.
I'm with it.
My now fiance and I are huge fans, and we're religiously listening to the podcast and Patreon together. We just wanted to express our sincere gratitude for everything you do. You've created something truly special, and we're so grateful to be a part of the Deadass community and Patreon gang. Huge love to Khadeen, Devale, and the whole Deadass crew. You guys are top tier. Sincerely, Kayla.
Come on, y'all.
This is why we do it.
This is why. That's why we never gonna stop, yo.
Where if there are tariffs on the mic, I guess we'll have to pay them. I don't know
We'll
what
pay
it
him.
is.
We'll pay him, yo.
Because this is the reason we keep going, babe. Look at that.
Yo, that just makes me
Wow.
so happy. Yo.
And here we are a lot of times saying like, we don't have all the answers. We can't
still
really
don't.
give advice. We still don't. But I'm happy to hear that our 2 cents have now multiplied for you and you guys are engaged. I love that.
That's what's up, man.
Wow. Keep us posted, Kayla, on all the haps, okay? That's awesome.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah. All right.
Proud of you guys.
Yeah.
Much love. And let us know when the wedding is. You know, if we free October 11th. If it's in Atlanta, we'll stop through.
All right now.
Number 2, dear Khadeen and Devale, I want to start off by saying I love your platform and what it represents. Thank you so much. Now my problem. I am a 30-year-old medical professional married to a 34-year-old fitness professional. We met online and fell for each other emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually. I love that. So the problem is money, of course. I make 6 figures, but it definitely doesn't feel like it after taxes and blessed student loans. If they live in New York, I understand that.
Yeah.
My husband makes less than $50K a year. Oof. I was okay with it at first, but now that we have a house and are trying to start having a baby, I am worried. I honestly got a second job so we could furnish and renovate our home because I can't count on him to supply money because he does pay for all the utilities and half of the mortgage with what he makes. He's been in fitness for 10 plus years and has a gentle soul that caters to middle-aged adults. He's dabbled a little in the online space but hasn't gotten any clients. I wouldn't say he's grinding there. I also feel like he is okay with what he makes because I feel there's very little sense of urgency. Like when he's home, he's relaxing on video games. I hate that. On my day off, I'm trying to figure out how I can make more to live more comfortably, which has made me realize I need to get him to have online clients. He has no interest in getting any job that would require him to have a boss, even though he would make more. I understand because, yes, he has more liberties being self-employed. However, taking off more than a week per month is a problem for my husband because then he can't make money because he doesn't have an online presence. Mind you, it's not like I'm a gold digger wanting to go. I don't think you're a gold digger neither. Want to go on lavish vacations. I barely have time for that. I just want, when we go on vacation, he's not trying to figure out how to rebound. I want to help him make more of an online presence so we're both not at a strain. What are your suggestions to grab more clients and build an online fitness empire?
Well, that's something that you've done, kind of. Not
That
in
is
the online space.
Not in the online space, but yes, there are ways. First and foremost, shout out to y'all for working together as an entrepreneur and also in the medical space. I do also understand her mentality because she works based on salary, so she's used to getting a certain amount of money. He doesn't work on salary, so he's not used to getting a certain amount of money. This is my first issue. If you make less than $50,000 and you want to make more money, there should be no reason in the world why you on video games at any point in your life. I just had this argument with someone very close to me and I screamed at him, get off the fucking video games.
Literally.
Right? If you have time in the day, that time in the day should be going towards how you are going to create more money or more revenue to help supplement your wife or your partner, whoever that is. That's number 1. Number 2, in the fitness space, you have to understand that the greatest way for you to make money isn't only in customer retention, it's also in small group training. And it's just for me from knowing. If you tell one of your clients, right, hey, I'll give you half off your session if you bring 3 people to your session, right? This is what I use, a marketing strategy. And they're like, wait a minute. I pay at the time, it wasn't super expensive, but it was $60 per session. And they're like, wait, I can do $30 per session if I bring 3 people? They were like, yeah. They're like, but how does that work for me? I said, it's going to help you because you pay less, but also you have people to compete with. And what people don't realize about losing weight or losing body fat, most of it is motivation. If you have someone in your group that's doing the same thing as you, you guys work harder. Iron sharpens iron. If you come there every day for an hour to work harder, you'll lose more weight. But here comes the economics. You bring 1 person and they pay half off, it's the same price. You bring 3 people, now you're doubling your quota for the hour. So from $60 an hour down to $30 for that person, and all those other people are paying $30. Now how much we got? $120 per hour. Now you just doubled what you make. Plus you doubled your reach because you have 4 people that you can tell them, hey, if you have anyone else who wants to train, let them know. I can give them a discounted rate. That's the first thing.
And maxing your time.
Yes, because when you duplicate yourself, you give yourself autonomy over that time. The other thing is online training. Online training isn't perfect if you create programs. Before you create online training, create online programs that you can sell to people. I've seen people make hundreds of thousands of dollars per quarter. Am I lying?
Yeah, I know 2 people that come right off the bat to mind from online. I mean, in an online program that's like $29.99.
Yes.
For like an 8-week program.
Yes.
And you think about that times.
How many people he had? I mean, well, he had a
1,000
large
people.
following on social media.
Right. But
you get
still,
1,000
once you
people,
accrue
yeah.
that following, and the proof is in the pudding, like be a good trainer. That's also a part of it
Facts.
too. You want to have people
Facts.
that are actually making a change and you can see the difference,
Yeah.
and the before and after sometimes help with that as well too, to keep people motivated to say, I want to look like that.
Right.
It's a fickle industry because you
is.
have people who are, on again,
It
off
is.
again. But if you're a good trainer, there's potential there for sure.
Most of the trainers I know now making their money on online programs, or a program that I was thinking about called Prototype on Demand when I was doing Prototype Sports Performance,
Yeah.
where you can train people virtually and you do virtual classes. That's another way if you've never thought about it. So you have online programs, virtual classes, online sessions for one-on-one, online group classes. That's all ways for you to get autonomy over your time rather than losing time going from place to place or person to person. This is the most important thing, though, I think I have to say. Gentlemen, this may sound very old school, but this is something that my father had always said to me. If you decide to marry a woman and you want that woman to have your child or your children, it is not her responsibility to be an earner. The reason why is because there's a lot that comes with carrying a child, and then after carrying a child, nurturing that child. And asking a person to balance a career and nurturing a child is very difficult. So as a man, if you're asking your wife or your girl to have children, be prepared fiscally to handle that responsibility on your own. Now, if she finds a way to balance it, can help you, cool. It's a surplus. That's extra. But as a dude, this is one thing my dad told me and my grandfather told me. If you have a child, and what if that woman can't work? What if she has a baby like you had and had 24 stitches in your cervix and you can't work? What are you then going to tell your wife? Hey, you going to have to suck that up? Get out there? No. What if she's dealing with postpartum depression? What if she has hormone imbalance? You know what I'm saying? There are things that happen to women. As a man, any man, young man, older man, if you're looking to have kids, make sure that you and your wallet can handle that responsibility. Don't try to pass that on as we going to split this 50-50. Mortgage can be 50-50, all that stuff. But when it comes time to have kids, she got to carry it. She can't pass that 50-50, right?
Sure can't.
She got to birth it, right? She can't pass the birthing thing, right? No. So you can't pass that, bro. Sorry. It may seem old school, or I'm jumping on you as a man, but got to deal with that. Can't tell her to pass on the placenta. You know? Can't. So.
Sure can't. Good stuff. All right. Good luck to y'all as y'all navigate and try to figure this out. They're married? Did they say they were married? Yeah, they're married.
Yes, they are married.
So
yes.
I mean, it's a good conversation to have too. At least y'all are having the conversation.
Hell
So
yeah.
hopefully he's receptive to it.
Get off the games, bro. Seriously. Like, that's just killing your brain and your time.
Indeed. All right. So if you want to be featured as a listener letter, y'all, we have a new email address, okay? It's theellisadvice@gmail.com.
That's TheEllisAdvice@gmail.com. So,
Moment of truth time.
this is the first moment of truth for Ellis
First
Ever After.
moment of truth.
Yes.
How about we go back to a question that we didn't quite get to
Okay.
as the moment of truth, and we can have everybody answer it.
Okay, let's talk about it.
What are you looking forward to as a team with Ellis Ever After?
Much like we did in the live space, I'm looking forward to changing the way people consume podcasts because we are about to elevate the game. That's what I'm looking forward to. That was a great question. Pardon the left.
Thank you. All good.
Boom.
Actually, you kind of stole a part of mine, but I was going to say I'm looking forward to collectively elevating the Ellis Ever After experience. We saw what we were able to do with Deadass starting 7 years ago when we almost had no idea what podcasting was at the time.
Yeah.
And I think that Deadass really was able to set the tone and raise the bar and change the way people consume podcasting, audio wise, but also visually, and then in the live show space.
Yeah.
I want to give us our flowers and say that we were pioneers in that.
Yeah.
You know, in that space. So I'm
Keon saying
looking forward
Devusha,
to-
baby.
Period. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to the heights that we can go to with Ellis Ever After now that we are in a new space with new energy, getting input formally from Tribble, Josh, and Matt, and collectively finding a way to make sure that this is going to be the experience that you guys have been waiting for. So I'm excited about that.
Before we ask everybody else, I also just want to say, I want to continue to share how we do things and build.
Absolutely.
And continue to not gatekeep information.
Absolutely.
So I look forward to, over these next couple of years, letting you guys know how we're building and develop the podcast, the next live show, TV shows, films, books. Like, we have so many things on the horizon, and we look forward to showing you how we doing it so that you guys can take that information and do it yourself. You don't need nobody to give you an opportunity. Go make it on your own.
I'll tell you guys before I pass the mic. 2024 for us, I felt like was a very, it was a trying year in that it was a transitional year for us.
A lot of change.
A lot of change, a lot of trying to navigate things professionally and also from a personal perspective. And we were able to plant a lot of seeds in 2024.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere recently through someone, it's just funny how God sends messages to you through people, that this was going to be collectively for you and I the year of harvest. And when I saw that, I almost got like super actually kind of did get really emotional, because I'm like, that's exactly the conversation I had with God at the end of 2024. And I felt like he pushed us into a certain direction that forced us to kind of recalibrate, plant those seeds. And for 2025, at the very top of the year, and this is a separate episode that I'm going to recant the story, at the top of the year, getting a text message from someone that completely changed my life. And it further confirmed to me that this is going to be the year of harvest for us moving forward.
It will be.
So I'm super excited for the blessings that are en route and the ones that have already taken place. I'm just super excited.
Trouble! What are you looking forward to?
For Ellis Ever After?
Yeah.
Man, I'm looking forward to the new iteration of this podcast. I'm looking forward to talking more. I'm looking forward to the DMs, you know what I'm saying? If you out there.
You gotta love Triple, bro.
Because I'm the only single one on the team.
You are. Oh, my goodness.
I'm looking forward to getting married later this year to one of y'all.
And stop asking me if Tribble is really gay. Tribble gay. Tribble don't like dudes. She loves women. So stop asking me. I know she fine. She don't want y'all dudes.
If you are
Trust me.
Eligible bachelorette.
With hair.
Holla at Tribble.
With hair? You like hair or no hair, Tribble? You a hair or no hair?
Like I said earlier, a little hair don't stop nothing but a comb, you know?
Okay.
I can tell by your sweater you like hair.
Give me a little fuzz.
A little fuzz.
All
right.
So Tribble looking forward to the hoes. Matt, what you looking forward to?
Not the hoes. Nope. This is new for me, like speaking in general. No. But I think this is gonna be fun. Like, I'm looking forward to this. Like, I'm getting used to the idea of people opening up and people getting to know me, learn the artist side of me, those things. So
absolutely
excited for that.
Love that, man.
Josh. I ain't signed up for all of this, Josh.
Joshua.
That's exactly how I feel, Matt. No, I ain't signed up for none of this. When the idea came about to do it in this format, I was like, I ain't gonna be on camera. I said that to Matt. I said, you get a camera, that'll be your camera,
right?
And I'll be on the side. But the reality is, I didn't understand what the vision is, but I got the vision today.
Yeah, that's how we work.
Day one.
That's how it works, baby. You know how I work. Josh, you know how I work. I got an idea.
It usually is like that, but I got the vision today, and the reality is, I'm looking forward to evolution, man. It is a great thing to not be stagnant and not to want to be stagnant. Yes, so I love this. I love this for y'all. I love this for myself, and I'm looking forward to most. Tempering myself and not embarrassing myself on camera, right? This is the ultimate test.
It is.
To, think about what you say before you say it.
It is. Nah,
You know?
bro, you're
That is a fact.
absolutely
Kind of had a
right.
moment
It is
before.
important for people to
Yeah.
understand that. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. This is great.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I love that for all of us.
I sure do. Those were awesome moments of truth. All right, y'all. Let me go to my cue cards, y'all. You know I'm a little rusty since we just got back. I lost my place in the sequence of what we having to say.
See, I know it by heart.
Do you know it by heart? And I just want to make sure nothing changed. You know, 'cause
Well, yeah, one thing did change.
what's that?
The podcast name.
Oh, well, of course. We know
Yeah.
that changed. So be sure to find us, y'all.
Yes.
On Patreon, because we're still there. And we are aiming to do some more lives on Patreon, y'all.
Yes.
We just had to kind of get our footing. Like I said, 2024 was a beast. But now that we're kind of recalibrated, and we're going to definitely jump on some more lives to connect with you guys more. But you can find us on Patreon if you're not there yet for the after show, because we're still going to have the Ellis Ever After after show. So we're still building that out. And just so you know that our new set, we're super excited about. This is actually Devale's man cave space that we have turned into our set. So thank you
Yes.
for loaning this to us for
It's
Ellis
my
Ever
pleasure.
After.
It's my pleasure.
And we're still continuing to like put up decor pieces. We'll have some new furniture coming in. So just be with us on the journey. You know, we wanted y'all to see this as it's unfolding in real time. But you can find more exclusive Ellis Ever After video content on Patreon. And you can find us, of course, on social media. So the Deadass Podcast page, if you're on it now, it will eventually change to Ellis Ever After. And then you can continue to find me at Khadeen I Am.
And I am Devale. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Please do.
And as always, I'm going to end every episode.
Hold up. They can't find us? @_Matt.Ellis.
You absolutely
Follow the
right.
kid, because I need it.
True. You know, Matt,
Yo.
you came in hot on that mic. He's like, I don't talk too much. I don't talk too much, but here's my handle. Follow
By the
me.
way, follow.
As you should.
Good.
Oh, me?
I said
Oh, my
my-
bad. You don't got to find me on Instagram. You can find me on, email me for pricing, info@joshuadwayne.com.
Spell it.
Absolutely.
Can I spell it? Oh,
Yeah.
info@joshuadwain.com.
There you go.
Wow.
Period.
Y'all can tell Josh is new, and I love
Josh
it.
takes
Get
photos.
the organic evolution of Josh, because I guarantee you a couple weeks from now we're going to do this again. Josh going to be telling everybody what to do. That's what Josh like to do. He going to have his whole Instagram name changed, pictures of it. I know, Josh. I see
Yeah,
you.
he got to feel his way through it. He has to be convinced.
You can find me on Instagram at Tribs the Cool, TRIBBZ THECOOL. That's also my website and on TikTok. Yeah.
All the things.
And as always, I'm going to finish every episode with this. Dead ass. Wow, that's a good first episode, yo.
Yay. First episode.
Ellis Ever After is an iHeartMedia podcast. It's hosted by Khadeen and Devale Ellis. It's produced by Tribble. Video production by Joshua Dwayne and Matthew Ellis. Video editing by LaShawn Ruff.